Shall I get us started then, Kathy?
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Sure.
So we are called to order then at 7:01 p.m. First order of business is whether there are any additions to the agenda, and one quick addition to the agenda, which is the vacancy on the Board of Trustees. So that'll fall in there under new business. And then our first actionable item on the agenda this evening will be the election of the Secretary Pro Tem. So the May meeting is, of course, the annual meeting where officers and committees are scheduled. As part of that, the secretary for this meeting is selected as, at the start of the meeting, as a change in officers, if one were to occur, might potentially leave it unclear who is responsible for the minutes.
I'd be happy to do it. Good.
Bless you.
Yes. I've already started.
So do we have a motion for?
Yeah.
John moves. Do we have a second?
I second.
Cal seconds.
Cal.
And
Hi,
we'll do
Scott.
just a regular voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations on Secretary Pro Tem.
Thanks. I'm so honored.
Be sure you get that on your CV.
I gave to your pack.
So what you're saying then, John, is that for most of the items in here, they should be accompanied by the wisdom of John Heinzelman.
No.
Shed light upon. Okay, and that brings us up to the election of board officers and selection of committee members. Again, May is the annual meeting. Distributed in the packet are the list of officer responsibilities. If there is only one candidate for each position, then the slate can be approved by a single vote. If there are multiple candidates for a position, we'll need to vote on that position separately. For the committees, the descriptions of the committees are also included in your packet. Each committee generally has 2 to 3 members, and I think that pretty well covers it. Other than that, please do keep in mind that positions as well as committees, that membership or holding a position can change during the year. So they are not lifetime appointments or even annual appointments. So on that note, I would open the floor. The positions, of course, are president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer.
I'm a little nervous about nominating someone for vice president when I can't see their entire face. It just feels a little squirrely to me. I would put forth the nomination of Kathy to continue as president.
Second.
Okay. And vice president.
And I would put forward that Cal continue as vice president.
Thank you.
Second.
I'm just going to keep going if nobody interrupts me.
Keep going.
Okay. And
You're on a roll.
secretary.
I nominate Janie.
What's
I
that?
second.
What? No.
John nominated you.
I decline the nomination.
Do you really?
I don't want to be treasurer. I'll be secretary again. I don't want to be treasurer.
Oh,
No, this is for secretary.
Secretary.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going in order that they're on the page.
Yeah,
Oh,
They're in the wrong
sorry.
order.
there you go.
I
wow.
second.
No, you were nominated for secretary, Janie. So
Okay.
And I
So
second
it was
That's a good
Scott and
do you
John
still wish to
again?
decline?
No, I will be happy to do it.
Okay.
Boy, that's a relief.
You didn't want to get stuck with that one, huh, Cal?
No.
Well, Janie, you do a fantastic job with the minutes.
You do. You
Yeah,
do
except I always
indeed.
wait till the last minute and then I'm calling up Eric because I forgot stuff.
It's fine. And you're stretching things there. You rarely call me, and you usually have them well before the last minute. So that brings us up to treasurer.
Yes, and I'm going to step down as treasurer, and there are two reasons for this. The first is that I don't feel like I've really been doing very much the past year as the treasurer, so I think a fresh face in that role would be good. The second is that this coming year is going to be my last year on the board. We are in the process of moving locally with the intent of moving to Colorado a year from now. So I want to make it clear well in advance that this will be my last year.
Well, Scott, we'll deal with that bad news on another occasion, but the best of luck to you always, of course. That comes
Absolutely.
first, so, yeah. Bill, since you are chairman of the finance committee, would you be willing to take on the role of treasurer?
Yeah, no, I would.
Okay, so I would nominate Bill for the position of treasurer.
I would
that.
second the nomination.
Okay.
Right.
Is there any further discussion on any of the officer positions?
No.
Okay, you can tuck
Okay.
your head again.
So for the officers, we have a nomination and second for Kathy Meyerhoff as president, Cal Stroh as VP, Janie Jerch as secretary, and Bill Hayes as treasurer. Do I have a motion to approve that slate?
So moved.
Moved
I
from
second.
John. Cal seconds.
Right.
Sorry, she beat you, Scott.
Always.
And we will do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Vote carries unanimously.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
The
Yeah.
long, exhausting campaign is over.
Job.
It was tough.
Without a lot of rancor, too.
And we drained whoever gave that pack. We drained it.
Okay, so that takes us up to the committees. Handy place to check on the committees is the, if you look at the agenda, which are pages 2A and 2B. On page 2B, under the committee reports, it lists all of the committees and their current membership. So, starting at the top, the three current members of the Building and Grounds Committee are Janie, Kathy, and Cal. Do we have any suggestions, questions? Either of the three of you want to move off that committee? Anybody interested in moving on?
I'm happy where I am there.
I as well.
That committee, I think, has been worked pretty well as a team.
Yeah, I can stay on that one.
You okay, Cal? You need to get a drink?
No, the problem is I swallowed the coffee the wrong way.
Ah. Happens to the best. Okay. Bylaw and Policy Committee. This is currently Cal and John.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. Finance Committee, which is Scott and Kathy.
I'm happy
And
to
Bill.
stay.
And Bill is on.
Yeah, I'm chairing that one there. That's still.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then Human Resources, which is Scott, Scott, John, and Janie.
Okay.
Happy to stay.
It's fine with me.
In intergovernmental, right now we do have an opening on that one. Since that's the weird one that's actually a committee made up of the representatives from the library, the museum, and the village. I'm the acting chair on that one, and Cal, you are currently the member. That was one that Kate had been on. So we just have one trustee representative listed there.
Do you usually have two on that one?
We usually have two trustees on that one.
Okay.
I know that's
Cindy-
you've been a helpful presence on that in the past, but I get the sense too that it's been an awkward position to put you in as a member of that committee, Janie, since you are active in the museum
me?
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say I'd be happy to do that again, but if you would prefer that I didn't, that's fine. So it's all of what, one meeting typically a year,
Yeah, that's about it.
unless some issue comes up, it's one meeting a year, so it's not a big time commitment.
Right.
It's one meeting a year that gets rescheduled frequently.
Yes.
Good point.
It is. Kathy McKechnie has a very full calendar. Well,
If you need it, I can sit in on that. It's
that would be good. That would be good too.
okay. You can put me down on that.
Okay. And long range plan, currently that's John and Bill.
I'm okay.
That sounds
I'm
good.
okay.
And outreach, well, outreach right now is just Janie.
That's kind of lonely.
So we could leave that as the status quo if nobody feels strongly wanting to jump in there, and then just come back to it when the trustee position is filled. Or someone could jump on now.
How much work is there involved in that committee?
Not a lot. Mainly on that one, it's been focused on doing an annual evaluation of our outreach projects, and just sitting down, going through evaluating the cost benefit for the different outreach activities, making sure we're not overextending.
Eric, is this the one?
It's one or two meetings a year on that one. It's one of the lower involvement committees at present.
Is this the one we've renamed Community Engagement?
The name on this is flopped back and forth a few times.
Because on 3B you've got it that way. On 2B you've got it outreach. How do you want it?
I think what happened is that we actually changed it when the bylaws were approved, so those were approved as written. But then there was some discussion that outreach was felt to really be a better title for it. So because it doesn't require a change to the bylaws to change the agenda, we just changed it there.
It seems to me that in the last year or so that the staff is really bringing a well-prepared bit of information to the committee. So it's sort of almost being generated by staff. They're doing a great job on that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to help out until there's a new board member named.
Sounds good. Okay. So then for the committees, we have Building and Grounds, Janie, Kathy, and Cal. Bylaw and Policy, Cal and John. Finance Committee, Bill, Scott, and Kathy. Human Resources, Scott, John, and Janie. Intergovernmental Agreement will be Cal and Kathy. Long Range Plan, John and Bill. And Outreach Committee, Janie and Scott.
Got it.
So with that as the slate for the committees, do I have a motion to approve?
I so move that we approve the committee members.
And
I
a second.
Second.
Second from Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Excellent. Congratulations to all our committee members. Okay. That
That
takes
went
us up
faster than it
to-
usually does. It must have something to do with being on whatever this is, electronics.
Zoom.
There's an element of
Zooming.
efficiency. It's
We're
hard to
zooming
talk
through it.
over each other.
Yeah.
Number 5, we have our opportunity for the public to address the board.
Who is here, by the way?
We have
Martha and
Martha
Jillian?
and Jillian. Anything from you?
I had a question. I'm going to update the website later. Are the chairpersons still the same?
Chairpersons will be set at the first meeting of the committees in the new year.
Got it. That's all I had.
Okay. So I think we'll carry on then and jump on to number 6, the approval of the minutes from the April 21st meeting. Any questions, comments, requested changes for those minutes? These are,
I think Jeannie did a swell job.
I agree.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome. Having done it a couple of times myself and failed miserably, I appreciate it.
It's one of those places where my OCD comes in handy.
They look great to me.
if we don't have any comment or discussion, then I would look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
I so move.
Second.
So Cal moves, John seconds.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the approval of the minutes is unanimous. Takes us up to the financial reports. So the financial reports for the end of April offer us the first real glimpse at as to the numbers at the end of the fiscal year, since that fiscal year wrapped up at the end of April. So I'll highlight this evening some of the most essential numbers from the reports. And as I do that, I do ask that everyone remember that these numbers aren't final. There always are additional invoices and revenue that will end up getting added later that aren't included yet. There will be some payments that we have currently budgeted or charged to the previous fiscal year or this fiscal year, the new one that we're in, that the auditors will move around. There's always a few that they do. The final numbers will be available as part of the auditor's report. That's when things go final, when that is presented in October or November. So with that caveat, jumping in, on page 5 of the revenue and expenditure report, which is the first section in the financial reports, you can see.
You said page 5 of the report?
Page 5 of the revenue and expense report in the packet.
Yeah.
Well, they are numbered. It's just teeny.
Yep, it's not the biggest font. For these, I have to log in on the VPN, get the report to run remotely at the library, and then email it to myself, and then put it in as a PDF in the packet, which is not the usual process and doesn't let me put numbers on them very easily.
So Eric, you want us on page 5 of 5?
Yeah.
Total revenues, 28,000.
Eric, somehow you're
Is it
not.
possible
coming
for
in.
me to share screen, Martha?
Kind of breaking there.
Yes, it is. If you kind of mouse over.
Here. That do it? Can you see it?
Wow, yes.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So looking at page 5 here, which is 13 of 32 in the packet, you can see this number here is the projected final for revenue. So 1,028,000. Next number below that is the projected all funds total expenditures, 1,010,000. $18,203 then is the net of revenue and expenditures. So that is the difference between those two numbers and the amount that then will be going to reserve. There is some math to be done there, since this is not, it's misleading. One thing that is definitely not included in this final number is the contribution, annual contribution from the village to defray the cost of the exterior maintenance of the wood building. So that will represent probably a little over an additional $9,000, given the way that that raises incrementally each year. That will be added to that total. So that takes us up to 27,000 for that projected final number. We also do need to factor in that we have one expense, one of our major expenses that was made this year with the anticipation that it was a cost that was going to be defrayed by the money that we'll be receiving from the state. That unfortunately doesn't look to be as imminent as we had hoped it would be at this point. We'd hoped that the additional revenue streams that we're going to be going into that Rebuild Illinois Fund would be going strong right now, and we could be counting on that money later this year. It's less certain. But that does still stand as an expense that we look to have defrayed, and we do still expect to get that grant. Generally, even when the state has been really late on these things, as was the case for a number of grants during the shutdown in the state a few years back, they do fill them eventually. When those funds become available, that would be another 15,000, which would take us up from 27 to a final number, potentially around 42,000 as the ultimate total of money from this fiscal year going into reserve.
Well, I have to say, I certainly hope that happens. I'm getting a little nervous about that grant and the future of the grant as well. However, if we can recover, you're about to be shared here with a cockapoo, so if she jumps in this, you'll know. If we can recover that 15,000, I think a 42,000 increase to reserves under the circumstances would really be excellent. I think that would be speak well for just a great year. And I know this $15,000 is totally outside of our control. But considering the costs that we put out last year with the roofing, to be in a position to even hope for a high of 42, I think it's terrific. So let's keep our fingers crossed, but let's hope that works out. What's the timetable on the village contribution?
They will be making that as part of their reconciliation process with the auditors. So that'll show up over the next month or two as they continue that process.
Okay, good. If it
I
happens between meetings,
I do always give them a poke as well, just to make certain they don't forget.
Whatever it happens in between meetings, just give the board a heads up that has occurred, because that'd be good news.
Will do.
Taken care of.
As far as the numbers for the general reserve, then we started the year with that general reserve number at $307,705. If we were to add the that high end estimate of $42,203 into the fund, we would be looking at a general reserve then of $349,938, which would represent 33.8% of the annual operating budget for fiscal year 2021. Just the way that the reconciliation process happens with the budget, we're probably not going to get that high amount, but we should have a pretty healthy sum that we're putting towards the reserve this year. That is the major points here as far as what is going on with the financial report this year. The details as far as the individual lines are a lot more. I mean, there's never a lot that's going on anyway in the last month of the fiscal year. We set it up that way for it to be so, and just with the close down in place, the overall nuances of the line are fairly boring. Any questions?
Nope.
If there are no questions, then I would look for a motion to accept the reports.
I move that we accept the reports.
Second.
Cal motions, John seconds. And since it's money, we will do a roll call vote. Trustee Stroh.
Aye.
Trustee Heinzelman.
Aye.
Trustee Hayes.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Meyerhoff.
Aye.
And Trustee Church.
Aye.
So 6 ayes, carries unanimously. And that takes us up to the checks. I just have one that I'll highlight real quick, and then I'll open it up to discussion here. I think I'm going to make use of that screen share again. I think that worked pretty well the last time. Okay. So the only one that I have marked to be sure to draw your attention to is on the last page of the checks here, the invoice for Zubeen for $1,100. Zubeen is the company behind the Beanstack software that we have acquired a license to, so that we can offer the various reading clubs, adult, youth in particular, and definitely as well as the teen over the summer months. So even if towards the end of the summer we, and it would be delightful and amazing, got to a position where we had people coming into the building again and we could congregate, it's really great software and would still be doing a lot for us in terms of what it would be contributing to the reading club. And honestly, we're about, I think, 3 weeks away, maybe 2.5 weeks away from when we would usually launch the summer reading club. And, we're not going to be able to have folks in the building. So we're going to be getting a lot of mileage out of that one. Any questions on any of the other checks?
Hi, Eric. The pictures of everybody are overlapping the far right-hand column. So what is the cost of Zoom Beam?
I wonder, is it possible? Is that moving for everybody or just for me?
Are you talking about the $1,150 check?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just can't see that.
$1,150. The little compacted window, you can grab that at the top and drag it around to get it out of the way.
Okay. And is that an annual charge?
I believe it's an annual charge, but we signed up for multiple years.
Oh.
I believe that was the nature of that contract.
So you think this
So-
$1,100 is for more than just 1 year?
Oh, that's definitely for just a single year. That's a single year charge.
Oh, okay.
I do. I think Zubin asked us to look at signing up for additional years and then offered a discount if we paid. But I believe the direction that my discussion with Eliza went on this was that, well, let's sign up for the first year where we definitely need it. We'll pay the that first year, and then there's contingencies there where we can back off from the multi-year contract if need be.
Okay.
Seems to be going very well so far. So
That sounds
just
like a
basically
good plan.
$100 a month. It's $100
No,
a
per
month,
year.
and yeah, but it's $1,100 a year. It's about $100 a month, and
Mhm.
that's like unlimited use. That's
yes.
great. That's great. Um,
Okay. Any other questions on checks?
So there was, is there a reason there wasn't one skipped this time? Usually there's one that voids out because of the way the checks run.
Because of the way that the check runs fell this year, there was only one run of checks. Usually
Okay.
when there's the gap, it's for one or two reasons. It's because we're doing multiple runs of checks, and or because there's an invoice like we have a ton of stuff for Amazon or Baker and Taylor, and those, when there's enough stuff, take up multiple pages. Had neither of those, so we didn't have any gaps.
Okay.
Barring any other questions, I would look for a motion to approve the checks.
I move
So
that we
moved.
approve the checks.
Oh. I second.
Kathy? Okay.
Yes.
Cal moves, Kathy seconds. Again, we're into finances, so we will do a roll call vote. So Trustee Stroh,
Aye.
Trustee Heinzelman,
Aye.
Trustee Meyerhoff,
All right.
Trustee Church,
Aye.
Trustee Hayes,
Aye.
and Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Okay.
So Eric, I do have a question, not about the spending, but just about the purchasing of books right now. We can defer that to another discussion or whenever you want to talk about that.
We can do that now. That'd be fine.
So it looks like we're not buying books, which makes sense because we're not there to process books and so forth. When we reopen curbside, open partially, whatever, is there going to be a lag between purchasing current new materials and the opening? I guess I'm just thinking of someone who might have been making a list of books that they want to check out, but we're not going to have them for a period of time. Is that going to happen?
We are doing our best to see that it doesn't. Reality is that we aren't going to be able to fill out the collection with everything that we would have purchased over the past couple months. There will be a bit of a buildup there. The biggest challenge that we've found is that we just don't have somebody at the library to do the receiving of the materials when they arrive. We did get some good news earlier today. It sounds like our cataloger, Lara, has fortune, I would say, has smiled on her. I won't go into any details because I don't want to jinx it. But it sounds like we figured out a way for her to get deliveries of materials at home, which was not something that Baker and Taylor, as our main shipper of materials, really, they aim to not do that. They only want things to arrive at institutional buildings. But it sounds like we've got a workaround that should be in place, and we are looking to get that ordering restarted soon. We've got the lists made. Everybody's working on those. We just need to get that ability to receive them and then get them cataloged back in place. And that is important because being able to check stuff out is no good if we don't have the stuff people want.
Right. I will say on the ebook end of things, I've been borrowing quite a few, and I put a hold on a book. I was told I was 1 out of 63 and it would take 6 months, and I got the book today. So something is working well, or else an awful lot of people are backing off, but whatever. That was good news from one patron.
Well, that's credit to Anna Fifehouse, who handles our ebook and e-audiobook collections. So one of the things that we've done budgetarily is, since we're not able to spend money in other places, we're putting a little bit more time and money, as in particular, to the ebook and the audiobook collections, and trying to be more aggressive as we can be with the resources that we've got in purchasing extra titles specifically for our patrons. So Anna spends a lot of time and does very good work on that.
Eric, as far as you know, are other libraries doing things the way we're doing them in terms of ordering books?
Well, a number of the bigger libraries in the area have the advantage that they have permanent facilities staff, janitors and maintenance crew who are around pretty regular. With that being the case, it's easier to work out something where the books can still show up and there's still somebody around. Overall, my understanding from most of the libraries is that things are still, by and large, shut down. There isn't really a big workaround there. It seems like that we've been missing. Laura's actually been putting in a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this work, that we can get this going, get it kick-started again.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is whether we're going to be well behind any competitive libraries when things start up again. Doesn't sound like we will be.
No, though, unfortunately, primarily in the sense that we'll all be behind together.
Right.
Eric, do we have a lot of materials out to patrons at the moment, with whatever movies, DVDs, books?
Well, that last day that we were open, I believe the number is over 1,300 items that left. Is that right, Martha?
Yes, it was 1,337 items checked out on the 13th, and I believe total we have 3,600 items currently checked out.
Yeah.
Oh, Martha, tell him the percentage of how many books it is.
Don't know.
You did. It's like you said it, what, 4 times the amount?
Right. So our busiest fiscal year, on average, we checked out around 300 items a day. So we did 4 times as much on our last day open.
Wow.
It was a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Run on the library.
People showed up very, very excited, and they loaded up to the gills. Currently, our new release shelf looks pretty sparse. One of the reasons why we are very keen to get the ordering going again.
When all the dust settles,
Other questions on?
When all the dust settles, sooner hopefully than later, we should remember that date and have some kind of, as our, the run on the library day, somehow celebrate that in recognition. If anything, of the staff who managed 1,300 checkouts, that's pretty.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had all 3 workstations going, and people were grabbing stacks from patrons and checking them out and back. It was exciting. Okay. Any other questions, comments on that before we move on to the committees? Okay. We didn't have any committees that met between the April meeting and this one. So
Didn't we have didn't finance and HR get together though when that?
That was before the April meeting.
It was before the April, okay. Yes.
So is there anything that anyone would like to report from from any of the committees? If not, then we will move on to new business. The first item of which is the resolution on essential services. So this is page 8A in your packets. The Governor's Order 2020-32, which was issued on April 30th, provides that governmental entities are tasked with designating what services they consider essential. The resolution below lists essential services that we are currently offering, and provides as well the opportunity for a modest next phase extension of services if it is judged to be safe and feasible to offer that. The resolution here is a template that was made available through the library's legal counsel and was reviewed again for a final judgment since I made a few tweaks to it after it got to me. I made it available again to the legal counsel, see if he had any thoughts. He did have one, which was a suggestion for a change of text on page 8B. He suggested a change to text here. The board has determined the following services are essential government functions and shall be provided by the library through the duration of the executive order. He recommended that we expand that a bit to say the Governor's Order number 2020-32 issued on April 30 provides that local governmental units should formally designate those services they consider to be essential. The resolution provided in the packet, oh, sorry, I'm rereading stuff. I got the wrong line. The board has determined the following services are essential government functions and may be provided by the library through the duration of Executive Order 2020-32 and or guidelines, regulations, and orders issued by the governor and COVID-19 regulatory agencies. He suggested adding that little bit on the end because he felt that it would allow this to be potentially applicable if there was
Further, right.
yeah, if there was something that overrid or expanded upon the earlier order, then the resolution here would continue to be in effect without also having been overridden and needing to be reapproved. I will post that text
Thank you.
in the group chat. So there, that is over in the chat bar. If you don't have chat open, if you look at the menu options down at the bottom of the Zoom screen, there's a little bubble, a speech bubble that has chat under it. If you click on that, it
Mine only says
open
participant.
that
I
box.
guess I have more. Let me see. I'm doing this on a phone. Chat. Okay.
I don't see any chat.
Oh, I got it.
Down at the
Okay.
bottom.
There's nothing down at the bottom. And there's a blank space that says Julian Chapman, but she's not in it.
Well, if you hover are you hovering your cursor down there? It might not show up until you hover your cursor. Usually it
I only
hides
have
it.
a cursor. This is an iPad.
Oh,
There's something at the top that says mute, stop, video, share, content, participants, more.
More.
click on more.
Yeah.
Okay, chat one. Is that it?
Yep.
That's it.
Ah, okay. Imagine that.
Okay. Any questions, discussion then about the resolution?
I don't have a question about the resolution, but I'm wondering, there's been so much talk around about things opening Some states are obviously well ahead of others. Have you heard any rumbling about that relative to the state of Illinois?
Well, the projection for in the Reopen Illinois plan is that there should be a lot more things that are able to open up when we get to phase 3, and according to the plan that the state has set down. The governor has indicated that the region 3 that we're part of, along with Chicago, is on course to go to phase 3 of the plan in May 29th would be when that would happen. So then the start of June, we would be looking at being under those more relaxed rules. We are, like most libraries in the area, planning to offer extended services when that happens. And fingers crossed it will. I mean, what is guaranteed in the age of COVID-19? But we are on course for right now, and we are getting ourselves as much as we can positioned to be able to do that.
Eric, can you explain what extended services are?
Well, under phase 3, that would be the curbside pickup. We would invite patrons to place requests on materials that we had in the library. We would then have staff members pull those items off the shelves, and after setting up a time when they would be stopping by the library, when we were available, we would bring the materials out to the patrons when they came up.
And then how would they be returned? Dropped into the drop boxes?
We would have the drop boxes going again.
Yeah, okay.
And we are following keenly the guidelines that are out there as far as how long things need to be quarantined, the materials, after they get back. The Reaching Across Illinois library system did increase their recommended quarantine time for returned items from 3 days to 7. So, you know, that kind of is what it is. As far as rolling out a new service, we want to be careful.
Yeah.
So we'll most likely stick to that. It'll be a built-in delay to the system as far as having to wait after we get something back, you know, for that turnaround time. But
Well,
you know,
also,
only so much we can do. And I think, you know, I'm a firm believer that when you've got a crisis going on, that it's important that you listen to the credible decision makers.
yes.
And follow instructions.
Have
Unless
you
there's
given
something.
any thought to what's going to happen when those 33,000 books or whatever it is suddenly get dumped into the?
We are mapping out where everything's going to be, and discussing some options as well on how best we can avoid getting overwhelmed.
Because
I
they would
have
have
heard,
to be quarantined too, right? Wouldn't they?
right.
Those
I have,
books-
yeah. I have heard from some libraries that have already started taking back items that while they have gotten a healthy amount back, they haven't been overwhelmed. So more of a normal busy rather than a rush from people to get stuff back,
Yeah.
which makes sense. One of the things that we've done is we've really extended out quite a ways the due dates for things. So until we change that, I don't think, you know, we're going to see, you know, a surge to return things that would bust the boxes. We are going to be keeping a very close eye on it, certainly, at minimum, because we don't want to be surprised.
Eric, what will have to happen for people to be able to come back into the building?
Well, we'll be continuing to monitor the situation. The reality for the social distancing restrictions are that under phase 3, you're still supposed to keep it under 10 as far as people in the same area. We do have a fairly small building that makes the social distancing a bit of an extra challenge as compared to, say, a Northbrook or Warren Newport or Evanston, where they've got 80, 90,000 feet. You can lose people. It's a matter of great importance to check the stacks before you close, because people could still be just hanging around out there. Most likely we would go to opening the doors again when we got to phase 4 or a further loosening of restrictions under an amended phase 3. I'm guessing that we'll be doing the curbside for probably 1 to 2 months before we're able to see that jump to doing open service again. Chicago Public Library, there was some rumbling over the weekend that they might potentially be looking to reopen their doors and just fully reopen on June 1st, but they had backed off of that in a big way on Monday. So that's the most that I've heard as far as anybody looking to commit in area libraries to opening the physical buildings to people again. So for the summer, then we're primarily focused on doing the curbside, making the physical materials available, but then continuing to rely on digital for our programming and a lot of the patron interaction.
How much do you, assuming that we are open under those circumstances, let's say June 1st, how much staff time do you anticipate being in the building? How are you going to work on that?
Well, we're still working on the schedule for that. We would have either 3 or 4 4-hour stretches where we would be offering the curbside. Those would be the stretches where staff were not just present, but that staff were present and we were setting up the appointments for folks to stop by and pick up materials. And then outside those timeframes, there would be additional staffing hours that would be going into answering phones as well as tracking down materials and pulling them off the shelves. I'm not anticipating time than we had budgeted for. I don't know where on the spectrum it's going to fall, but we're not going to go over.
And will you be in a position to distribute books that were put on hold before all this happened?
Yes.
Okay. And that'll start in June?
Yes. Yep, that will be getting started in June. We haven't announced a date just because we haven't gotten all of our ducks in a row. And we don't want to announce a date and say that we're absolutely going to do this on June 3rd. And then find ourselves in a situation where the non-latex gloves were back ordered and not there as soon as we thought. And now we've got to roll it back. So trying to be mindful and careful. And if you do want to get on and place some, look for titles that are currently available at the library and place hold requests on those. Feel free to do so. And that would actually, that would be a help potentially for the library as well, because one of the things that we do want to do is have some of those holds that patrons have already placed so that we can do a few preliminary run-throughs before we get up to a position where we're just going fully live to the public. And, you know, we'll probably at that point be getting a lot of interest and calls when we do make the big announcement. We'd like to do a few walkthroughs before then. So if you've got a few you want, Scott, in short.
I've got one.
What's that, Scott? Do tell.
Eric Larson's book.
Oh, the Winston
Oh,
Churchill one?
What's that?
It's terrific. It's terrific.
You've read it already, Kathy?
Yeah, yeah.
Splendid in the
I've
Bible.
read it.
Yeah.
I've read it. My son has read it. My sister-in-law has read it. My niece has read it. It's just a very good book.
What book is that?
Splendid in the Vile.
Yeah.
It's about Churchill.
But
And,
it's the one about Churchill, right?
yeah, the
Yeah.
best written.
Okay.
Now, you should get a few extra copies of that, Eric. That's a popular book.
Yeah, it's almost at the top of the bestseller list now.
Yeah,
I
it's
want
good.
the one that's been on the bestseller list for a long time, but I can't. It's the this and the that and the something else. You know,
That's
like the,
Those are the best.
you know, like the frog and the bug and the this and the that.
Yeah.
But it's been on the bestseller list for weeks. I've got it written down. I'll go get it.
This and the that and the something else is actually a pretty good title for something.
Right.
I think
Well, so
Kelly,
this
you've got the title for your bestseller there.
So this is right around the corner we're talking about.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, I just have to say, Eric, that I think that, you know, that to be conservative in the stages of reopening is the way to go. And so if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel ready by June 1st, I personally don't have any problem with you, you know, backing off of that date.
I agree.
I think that it's better if we hesitate and wait a little too long than if we jump the gun.
Under
Yeah.
promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
No, the what I've encouraged staff to think in terms of is, you know, let's plan as though we can make a go of it on June 1st, and then we'll, you know, adjust the date as needed from there. So I'm glad to hear that that the board is supportive of that, because if we didn't have what we needed, I could not justify opening us on
Yeah,
June
you're just going to have a lot of aggravated
capacity.
people.
Okay.
No, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't want to roll out a service that was half baked and people were confused and didn't know what was going on. You know, and certainly with the, you know, coronavirus still rumbling, you know, there's always a potential for something to be dangerously exchanged of a
Okay, Cal,
non-library
what's
nature.
this and that?
The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie McKeesey.
Okay.
And it's been weeks on the, it was several weeks #1, but then it's and it sort of goes up and down on the, but see, it is the this and the that and the something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. I'm
You nailed
afraid
it, Cal.
That's what it's about.
So I'm going to
Eric.
have to request that one.
Eric, do you need we got off the track of your resolution. Do we need to vote on that, or do you want
We do need to
check
vote
it?
on the resolution.
A voice vote or an individual vote?
It would be a voice vote.
Somebody needs to make a motion first.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, so John moves, Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, and we voted on the expanded version. That's not the
Yeah,
one.
oh, yes.
That's,
Yeah,
that's not the
Motion
one
to
in.
approve the amended version, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have to print out another one, and then I guess Kathy and I will have to stop in or sign it somehow. Is that
Yep.
correct, Eric?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's another one coming up as well. So get all that
Yes.
paperwork in one place.
Yep, and speaking of that next one. Okay, well, before we get to that one, the next one up is the non-resident card program participation. The non-resident cards are the cards that are made available to residents in unincorporated Lake Bluff. Offering cards to residents of unincorporated areas is not a state requirement. So we are asked to confirm our participation in the non-resident card program annually. So the information as far as how we handle our non-resident card program is included in the packet, and as well as a motion to approve continuing to offer those for the next 12 months.
Eric,
There's
if
nothing
I'm reading
different
this,
here than has been the case in the past.
Nope, this is an item that annually comes up in May or June, depending on which agenda it fits into easiest.
and is it correct, are we charging $16 a household for cards? Is that what that says? I never knew that.
No. What we charge is for any residence a tax equivalent fee. So we basically find the tax assessed value and apply the same rate just as a tax assessor would in calculating a bill.
Yeah.
And that's what we do for pretty much any residence, whether it's a rental or owned. Where the $16 does come in is when we get into the folks that are in apartment buildings, who are in a residence where they're there with a lot of other folks. And the charge for the full building would be a substantial one. So the $16 is a rough calculation of what an individual portion of someone living in an apartment would be based off of the collective EAV.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking this was the student card, and we were charging those kids. This is different. I got you.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood. No, we're not.
Yeah, no, I was on the wrong track here. So
no, we weren't. We don't charge those kids. That's paid by the school.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I would look for a motion to approve.
Also
I so move.
Second.
I second. Everybody there.
Okay, so that's Scott and Kathy.
Right.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. And then this takes us up to another one that is also an annual requirement that always comes up this time of the year in the board packet, which is a resolution adopting the prevailing wage ordinance. The state of Illinois requires that contractors hired by governmental entities be paid a prevailing wage, which is calculated by each county. In addition to being required to pay that prevailing wage, we as the library are required to approve an acknowledgement that we are required to pay the prevailing wage each year, and then to publicly provide notice that we have approved that. I am delighted to report that we are now able to post the notice on our website, that they amended the requirements. Previously, we had been required to post the notice in a paper of local circulation, and those notices were starting to get kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting up to the point now where even a small notice is a couple $100. So I am delighted not to have to do that.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So any questions on this?
So the only change really is that we're posting it on the website rather than publishing it, right?
Yep. Other than that,
it's the same thing we've done in the last couple of years. Okay.
Yep. Same as usual, no changes. If there is no discussion, I would look for a motion to approve.
I move that we approve this.
I'll second.
All right.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. And that will take us up before we get to the director's report / COVID-19 update. The additional agenda item, which is the vacancy on the Board of Trustees. So unfortunately, since the last meeting, we did have a resignation that occurred. I talked with Kathy about that, and our agreement on that as far as best course was that trying to interview somebody over Zoom, and not just someone, but multiple individuals, would be likely a challenge. So we had felt that the better part of valor on this was to hold off for the time being on conducting that to fill the position until such a time when we can go through the usual procedure to do full justice to getting the right and best person to fill the vacancy. Does that sum things up pretty well,
I think
Kathy?
the only thing that
Anything that you would
occurs to
add?
me is, do you want to put a time limit on that? So in other words, how long do we leave this position open?
well, I think we
That's
can
not a bad
revisit that
thought.
monthly. Or, I mean, we can set a time limit, or we can just discuss this on a, hopefully, well, I'm hoping it won't be that long, but I'm
Are
just
we-
thinking right now, it just doesn't seem like an ideal time to ask someone in the community to, you know, donate their time to something that they're not already very stressed in their lifetime taking care of. So I don't
agree.
want to impose anything, and I want people to have kind of their open mind to, you know, signing on.
Or we could say something like we could put it off till phase 4 or something like that, you know?
Hmm.
Depending on what phase 4 is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's a good idea too.
yeah.
that's very creative. Yeah, I like that.
And that can always be if
Or sooner.
the
we
board
could
wants
put.
to circle back around to that
Sooner, yeah.
later and
Yeah.
decide that, you know, maybe we do want to do a bunch of Zoom interviews or something. We can always come back to
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
But I think
Yeah.
as far as an initial goal, phase 4 makes sense.
I think the issue that occurs to me that you'd want to have a full board would be when we get into budgeting for next year, which would be, when it is, I guess that starts in October.
Yep.
So you'd like to, hopefully we could move on something before then.
Well,
Yes.
if phase 3 is going to allow 10 people to get together, that may be another option as well.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Because I think phase 4 is 50 or so. I mean, it's a big number jump up. Gives us the option, but I think, as you said, Kathy, maybe waiting till things open up a little bit, and we'll address it on a month-by-month basis.
Yeah. Yeah. I think right now it's just, I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I never know what day of the week it is. It's just kind of, you know, it's not a time when I would jump out and take on some new volunteer position. But
Right.
on the other hand, I don't want to be exclusionary at all or limiting. So we could shoot for, you know, I mean, if we wanted to vote on it, I don't know if we have to, but phase 4 or at the discretion of the Board of Trustees. So we'll just,
Yeah.
I suspect we will visit this monthly.
Well, it
when we
sounds
need
like a
to.
fair amount could happen before the next board meeting.
Mhm.
So in terms of phase 3, so why don't we just agree now to bring this up and just have it on the agenda for the next board meeting?
All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because we actually, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're in a position to make just this appointment. This is not, there is no, this, a new trustee would be completing Kate's term. And so it would be an appointment of the board. So, you know, be aware that if you are aware of anyone who expresses an interest or, you know, wants information about our position, we certainly are up to sharing all that and having those discussions. So sometimes the ideal candidate is someone who approaches us. So, you know, certainly we're open to all options. I just don't think we have to be forced into finding a replacement or making a decision that's inconvenient for anyone.
How many years are left on her term? How many years are left on the term?
I
think
think,
2.
2?
I'm thinking it's
2,
2.
maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
John, you just ran, right?
She
Right.
started
So
in
That
27.
was Kale, John, and Bill?
Yeah.
Or Bill was, okay.
Oh.
So she would be coming up a year from next spring.
She started in 2017, so she's got 1 more year.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
2021.
Is it
April 2021.
unethical? Is it unethical to poach people from the Friends of the Library for the board?
Not at all.
No, I think, and in the Friends.
No, though, if you're going to grab some of their new, they've got a couple folks there that I think might really good trustees in the future.
I mean, that group is people who are clearly already interested in the library.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's
It's a new expanding group now, which is very
And
valuable. I think.
there's at least one former trustee on the Friends of the Library.
right. Ruth
Yeah,
is
Ruth
on.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so. There's certainly nothing in our bylaws that prohibits anything like that. So, and I don't think there's anything wrong, Eric. There's nothing wrong with a trustee also being a friend, is there?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be good.
I can't imagine there'd be any kind of conflict of interest there.
No. It'd be a great liaison both ways.
Yeah.
So let's just, if it's
Always
okay,
have someone there.
let's just continue on this thinking about it, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about it next month.
Great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Some highlights from the dual purpose COVID-19 / director's report. One big highlight, obviously, this past month was that our new website is launched. If you've not had a chance to go take a look, I strongly encourage you to do so.
What date did that get
It
launched, Eric?
looks very sharp and night and day in terms of. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I do.
But I bet Martha does.
It was May 5th.
May 5?
May 5th.
Martha, it looks great. Thank you for everything. I know a lot of people went into that, but share the thanks, because we first I looked at it on my phone. I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I looked at it on my laptop and my iPad. It was great. So I hope you guys, more importantly, I hope you are finding it useful aside from just patrons. So.
I mean, like, I can copy and paste text and it like works. So it's it'll be, especially, we're kind of at a weird point right now where I'm partially trained and I'm the only staff member who is trained, but the goal is to get like more people trained, and well, for me to finish my training, obviously. And already it's going to make a very large difference with how much time it takes to update it. And yeah, I'm glad. I realized I've been working on this for like half of the time I've been at Lake Bluff, so it's.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience.
Robin, welcome to the 21st century.
Hey, Martha.
Did we lose Eric?
We lost Eric. He lost some bandwidth. I did remember there was something I wanted to bring up, Kathy, if I could do that now.
Yeah, sure.
The 125 committee decided to postpone their programming until next year. So that would include the LB 125 party.
That's
So
true
does
of the
that
village
affect
too, isn't
anything
it?
other than
Yes.
just put it on hold?
Hmm.
So that's just on hold at this point? Or
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be as scheduled, but 2021.
Yeah, they're calling it 125 plus 1.
Mhm.
Sorry, Eric, I was telling about the party. I forgot that that meeting happened after our board meeting. So.
That's right. Sorry that I lost my internet for a minute.
Oh,
I keep
Okay.
losing Kathy's
So with an
voice.
update on that, Julie.
I'm not saying anything.
See, I
Yeah,
can't,
the-
I can't, Kathy.
Does anybody else hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Eric seems to be breaking up a little bit, but I can hear you, Cal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, are you with us?
Okay. Well, I'm still here.
Okay.
We're only other item that I'll add then is that I am getting close here later in June to the family. I am factoring that into the planning as far as curbside and other services, in that as we were putting together schedules for things, I am factoring myself out. Ordinarily on these things is Martha can, because she's argued with me about it, I tend to put myself out there, but realistically with the baby on the way, that's we're working on building in a lot of redundancy, making certain that everything continues to get done.
What's your due date,
My screen
Eric?
appears. There we go. Believe June 21st.
Oh, all the best.
Close to,
Mhm.
very close to when our first son.
Eric, I don't know. Can you hear me? Or if you can hear us, I don't know about
Boy,
anybody, I'm losing you in and
I
out.
can just barely hear you. Boy, howdy, is our collection getting
Yeah, video's getting really
getting
bad.
laggy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
So Eric,
I
can you
don't
hear
think we
me?
have any other business. Yes.
I just wondered, did you say, you kept breaking up there, did you say you were going to take several weeks leave of absence when the baby comes? Or I didn't hear what you said.
I will still be around, but remotely. I am setting up the new face-to-face services with curbside, with the assumption that I am not going to be participating in doing those.
Good for you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
have to do that.
This is a matter of public
And we-
record now.
We have
On record.
I have
Just
one
gotta
other
let you
question.
guys figure it out.
Was
Fire away, Scott.
there a Friends meeting last weekend?
There was a Friends meeting. They
Hmm.
got on Zoom and did a meeting this past weekend.
So do we need to be
And,
scheduled? We don't have anything scheduled for any months
It's
after this?
true.
They don't have a meeting in July.
That's a good catch, Scott.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
but we don't have anybody down for June.
And that,
Is that right?
I can give it a try. I was supposed to Zoom in on Saturday, and for some reason I couldn't. So you could always bump me to June 20th. Although I think it means we won't be having a meeting again because there's more than 10 people. So I presume that would be another Zoom meeting. So why don't we just
Yeah.
make June 20th? Why don't we just assume that I'll do June?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you, Kathy. I'm sorry.
I lost the audio.
Kind
She
of like
said-
Kathy says she'll do June.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, And I'll take August for whatever that's worth.
It's worth a lot.
Really. You haven't seen my performance in these meetings.
Oh, they like you
Right.
a lot, Scott.
Yeah.
Do we want to try and fill out the rest of the months real quick, or just
Yeah, sure.
circle back to
I'll
those
take.
at an
I'll take
upcoming meeting?
September then.
Bill has September.
And we just have October and November.
Did we fill in July?
There is no July.
Oh, there's no July meeting. Oh, good.
July's been canceled. The month of July has been canceled.
Okay.
We're just
We're
skipping.
going,
November.
yeah, we're going from June to August with a lot of naps in between.
Mhm.
So we got
Scott is
October and
August.
November.
Scott is August, Bill is September.
I'd take one or the other, but I have to check. I have to check the football schedule for Northwestern.
I can take October. Well, wait a
You're
minute.
optimistic.
Maybe
Huh?
not.
You said you're optimistic, Jim. John.
Yeah, I know. They said we'd know in June.
Maybe we can.
What is their week? Is it the third Saturday of the month?
Yes.
17th of October and the 21st of November.
And if
What
there's
was the
schedules
date?
that need to be checked,
What
we
was the
can
date
come
in
back.
October again?
17th.
17th.
Okay, you know what?
Mhm.
I think we're having a lot of audio.
We are.
Yeah.
Maybe if you'll,
Why don't we do
You
it?
just put
Why
in
don't we
the
do that
minutes
in
that-
June?
we'll decide October and November, or you can phone in to the.
I'll know more. I'll know. I should know more next month. So
Okay, all right, so we'll defer to the June.
That works.
Sounds good. If we don't have anything else, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, good. I'll move to adjourn.
And
I'll second.
Okay, Bill, you're second.
Okay.
Aye.
I
I.
Aye.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
See
Thank
before
you.
Good luck with the
Everybody stay
baby.
well.
Right.
Thanks very much.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. You too.
You too, Eric. Good night.